Welcome back, everybody. Derrick Soo, your East Oakland advocate. Well, we have a disaster brewing here in the city of Oakland, and it's revolving around Mayor Sheng Tao and also the city council. Uh, the city of Oakland missed the deadline to file for grant money from the state of California from a fund that they put together to help cities deal with the sudden rise in crime. And city of Oakland missed out on tens of millions of dollars. San Francisco received 15 million. San Jose received 15 million. Even a small uh, police department in East Palo Alto received nearly $1 million in grant money. And yet the city of Oakland received zero. And the reason why they received zero is because we have incompetence top to bottom from the mayor's office all the way down through her staff. The staff member who was responsible to make sure that that grant was written, or they needed a grant writer, and the problem with grant writing here in the city of Oakland is that uh, over 4 years ago, 2018, shortly after Mayor Libby Schaaf was reelected, also Sheng Tao was now elected into uh, District 4 city council person. So um, that's where she started 2018, along with Nikki Fornutado Bass. Uh, and this is going to come back to haunt them because um, they cut a lot of budgets. Um, and Sheng Tao was the least qualified of all the candidates running for City of Oakland mayor. I'm not saying that Lauren Taylor was that much better than her, but um, at least he has some business background where Sheng Tao doesn't have a business leadership background. She has no background in terms of leadership other than her city council election. And she didn't do anything in District 4 for the entire 4 years. And neither did Lauren Taylor. So that's neither here nor there. But anyway, uh, the community was invited out to West Oakland at McClimate's High on Saturday. In fact, it was yesterday, September 16th, at McClimate's High School in West Oakland. And what makes this interesting is that during the election, Sheng Tao would not even go to West Oakland for um, a community meeting. And so she skipped that one for West Oakland, but yet here she has police protection, and so she goes to West Oakland, and she doesn't present any solutions. She talks about what she's tried to do, which you know is pretty feeble attempt. But here's the takeaway from this: the crowd, the community has a vote of no confidence on Mayor Sheng Tao because a majority of the folks there in Carol Fife's district said that they hear a lot of lip service from the mayor and no foot uh, results from the mayor, and so that's a vote of no confidence. And then also, the other thing was that Nikki Fornutado Bass, Oakland City Council member president, she was out there supporting Mayor Sheng Tao, her buddy. Those two formed a group shortly after Sheng Tao was elected, and also Nikki Fornutado Bass. They formed a good old girls club, and what can I say? They really ran the city of Oakland into the ground, along with Carol Fife. who is she was a lot of talk, but there's a lot of problems in her district, District 3. Nikki Fornutado Bass, she has a lot of dissent in the Chinatown District 2 um, area. And so Oakland has a lot of problems. And the thing is that we voters keep voting in the stupidest and the most unqualified to lead us. And then you this group cannot uh, higher up, unfortunately, because we've been dumbing down the political atmosphere here in Oakland. And so if we keep electing the stupid, which we do, uh, Mayor Gene Kwan started that. Ron Dellums, I don't blame him. He didn't want the position, and so, but yet, Oakland voters put in a person who didn't want the position. So you got what you got, from Ron Dellums. So I don't blame him for the 4 years that the city really went to shit. And then Gene Kwan, that was nothing but the city going to shit. And then Libby Schaaf, she did a lot of harm here in Oakland, and a lot of gentrification. And the sad part is that she was born and raised an Oaklander, but yet she sided with outsiders and moved to gentrify Oakland and change the dynamics of Oakland, which they did, unfortunately. And Oakland was at one point a chocolate city. We say that was because at one point Oakland's population, black population, was 52% of Oakland, and now with gentrification, it has dropped to 28%, and that's a scary statistic. Uh, that's a lot of people moving out, a lot of black folks moving out of a city that was once dominated by the black population. But anyway, uh, the person who took responsibility for the screw up there at the city of Oakland, he's the new Oakland city administrator, Justin D. Johnson. Justin D. Johnson is the new city administrator. He hadn't been in that seat very long, and the problem is that that what happened should not have happened, because we had people in place, old timers, that should have picked up on this grant. I'm specifically talking about in the city administrator's office. Latonda Simmons has nearly 20 years of working with the city in her capacity, off and on in different very powerful positions of decision making. Also, Joe DeVries, he has over 15 years, another holdover, carryover from decades past. And that's a person who needs to go, because he did a lot of harm to the homeless when he was the homeless administrator. And it took a lot of us putting a lot of pressure on the city. And then also, he got scared like a little girl. I should say a little chicken, and because somebody got in his face at one of the very heated city council meetings that was over homelessness, and he had done a lot of harm. He had stolen a lot of property from homeless people. In fact, many of us advocates, we have won the first of many lawsuits against the city, and we're representing the homeless. And the last one, Nita B, she was appointed to the Homeless Council for the city of Oakland. And so she gets a say, a very important say, which was omitted during all the hard times here in Oakland when they were really harassing and illegally seizing the property of the homeless, along with not only seizing their property, but their medications, their money, their identifications, everything. And so that's why we beat them. And then there's still 6 outstanding lawsuits. We in our first win against the city didn't even want to go to court because they knew that they were going to lose, because they violated uh, many of our constitutional rights, and that's how we beat the state of California, by uh, bringing civil rights and constitutional right violations to to the court. And the violations were our First Amendment, Fifth Amendment, Eighth Amendment, and 14th Amendment constitutional rights were violated. And so that's why the city of Oakland decided to settle out of court $250,000 on the first lawsuit. Also put Nita B in a very important seat at the table with the city of Oakland and the homeless sector. And so she's representing and rewriting the rules here in Oakland. Uh, and so tomorrow is a very important meeting, HOG meeting. And what HOG is, it's Homeless Advocacy Working Group. And it's at 4 o'clock tomorrow to 6. And we're going to be discussing the new Oakland vision for 2045. And what this does, this sets up the structure for the coming years of housing and equality throughout Oakland. And so Nita B has had a lot of input on this, and she spent all summer doing research all across the country at what's working and what's not working. And she is going to be bringing that report tomorrow to the Homeless Advocacy Working Group meeting. And we have city representatives there from the different city districts. And so we're hoping that it makes an impact. And what her recommendations, the city said that they would implement all of the recommendations that she has recommended and for implementation. And so the city agrees to do that, but whether they actually do it or not is something we'll have to wait and see, because the city says one thing and really truly always does something else. They violated court orders, and then that's another one that's still outstanding, a violation of the court order that was to have them not take down a camp, but yet they did it anyway. And that was approved by the Oakland City attorney. And so, yeah, a lot of bad things have happened to the homeless population, but our city's in a disaster. And Mayor Shanetown, she did come out this weekend and say that if the police commission does not get 3 recommendations for the new chief of police for Oakland for Mayor Shanetown to look at by the end of October, that she would declare, or by the end of the year, she would declare a state of emergency here in Oakland. And that's what a lot of the residents are saying. And by declaring a state of emergency from the mayor, that's throwing up a white flag. I give up. And in fact, that's what the meeting pretty much that Shanetown and city leaders had. That was pretty much throwing up the white flag and say, we give up. We have no more ideas. We need your help, your ideas. And so that's why I say again, she was the least and most unqualified mayor that was running for mayor at the time. She wasn't even qualified to be on the city council. She didn't have the experience. She didn't have business experience. She didn't have political experience. She She didn't have anything, and she still doesn't, and it shows. And rather than looking at cutting budgets, she should be looking at projects that are going to move Oakland forward with income coming in, like the 980 corridor project that I've been talking about, because that's Pete Buttigieg, Secretary of Transportation for the United States, put $980 million on the table to, to fix the 980 corridor. That's guaranteed money. And that could solve a lot of problems here in Oakland. And that could be one of the projects that really moves Oakland forward with jobs and living wage income and creating a new destination location and then creating new housing. That's what I've been talking about, reestablishing those destroyed homes from the late 60s and early 70s, putting them back in place by putting a cap, a bridge over the top of the 980 and creating new neighborhoods, recreating the neighborhoods that were lost and were stolen and cost a lot of families generational wealth. Because if you've been following along, my grandfather and grandmother on my dad's side, they were affected by this. They were eminent domained out of their home so that the 980 highway could be created. And so they were paid only half the value of the property because it was eminent domain. So the average home price here in Oakland back then was about $50,000 in the 70s. I should say early 70s. And it killed my grandfather on that because he was devastated with the loss, and then a loan had to be taken out for an additional $25,000 so that the family could have a home. You can't buy it. You couldn't buy anything with $25,000, and the only reason why my grandparents got $25,000 because they owned the property, the home, and the property free and clear. They had free and clear title. If you had a mortgage or you were paying anything on your property, it was likely that you were getting nothing back then. You got nothing. What you did, you turned in all your mortgage information to the city, county, and state, and they would take it from there. So anyway, there's city of Oakland lost out on the ability to get $15 million possibly. So in closing, the community get together in West Oakland simply just a band-aid on trying to find out what the pulse is of the community. As Shang Tao, she has no idea. Nikki Fornutado Bass has no idea. In fact, the crime level that we're seeing here in Oakland was actually instigated by the two ladies right there, Mayor Shang Tao and Nikki Fornutado Bass, because during the George Floyd incident, they were two of the many Oaklanders that started screaming, "Defund the police, defund the police, defund the police." When that mayoral candidate Shang Tao was saying that, I said, "Oh no, she's going to regret saying that, because that's just the dinner bell for criminals to come into Oakland when you start doing that." And then you had the Oakland City Council president saying the same thing. Then you had Rebecca Kaplan saying that. And then you had Carol Fife saying that. So you have 4 members out of the 7 of, or I should say 8, because Kaplan is at large. And so she oversees all of Oakland. But you have 4 of 8 city council members that said defund the police. And you're wondering why Oakland is in such horrible straits right now with crimes and criminal. They refuse to deal with the criminal element here in Oakland. They continue to allow them to live on the street uh, and set up illegal camps all over Oakland. They're stealing RVs and using these RVs for shelter because they know that the stupid city administrators won't tow them. They will not tow an RV or a trailer because they have to pay special money for a special towing unit, and they have to find somewhere to put something that damn big in most cases. And we see it all over Oakland. And they are removing some, but they're not removing enough because the criminals that are setting up all over Oakland. We don't have enough police officers. Shane Tao was talking about having an additional 6 police academies, which would, over the next 2 years, bring in an additional 700 police officers. Uh, that's nothing because those 700 just replace the 700. They're going out the door, literally. Uh, the city of Oakland needs to increase its police staffing. We need at least 800 personnel, if not 1,000. I had a plan to bring that to fruition without adding taxpayer costs to that. I had several plans to bring income into the Oakland general funds and increase the income coming into Oakland. So we need better leadership and better vision for the city of Oakland. Thanks for joining me today. We'll be right back.